Just start at the emotion. So let's say that the emotion is frustration, because it's more common for it to be frustration within you than it is anything more. So let's just start with where it often is. So you're feeling some frustration. So now let's calibrate. So, you're going to like this so much. And this is so much easier. You're going to catch on to this so quickly. In fact, you're already doing it a lot of the time. But when you realize that it's the science that you can apply and that it works every time you decide that you're going to apply it, now you're off and running. And so here you are in a feeling of hopeless because of some thought. What's that thought? Oh, so maybe it isn't hopeless because you can't really find the thought. Let's not start with hopeless. If you were hanging around there, that thought would have come right.
Why is it not, what am I doing wrong? Because I always feel like I'm looking for the right thing to do just to get there.
All right.
But I feel like I'm something in me, or maybe, I don't know, I'm not good enough.
Oh, now it's getting
whatever.
hopeless. Now
okay. I would like to say this in front of 1,000 people.
It's wonderful. So there you are. So we said, what's the thought that causes the emotion of hopeless? Because your inner being isn't thinking anywhere near that. Yeah. And when you do, then the emotion is your indicator that you're calibrated against or in opposition to who you really are and what you really want. And that's all resistance is. It's just thinking a thought that's different, calibrated differently. Not right or wrong, just different from what you want. So
I'm not good enough is the thought that starts out? Or...
You're thinking that thought, which is bogus. If your inner being agreed, that thought would feel great. The fact that it doesn't feel great means it's a bogus thought. It doesn't match who you are or what you want or what's coming. We're wanting you to just relax and have fun with this with us. So here's this thought that says, I'm not good enough. And the corresponding emotion, which indicates that it's a strong resistance. So now here's where the calibration starts. So then you ask yourself, just ask yourself, am I not good enough? Am I really not good enough? Or is there so much evidence in my life that shows me that I can be or do or have what I want? Now, which is it? All right, that was too strong of a calibration. This is what calibrating is. Because that's what your inner being knows. When we tried to get you to go there, you can't go. You haven't practiced that enough. You're more calibrated here than you are there. It's all right. Doesn't matter. Wherever you are is where you are. And the calibration process is a gradual process every time. We want to tell you a little story. Esther had an experience with someone that she cares a lot about. Long time history with this person, almost from way back. And the experience that she had made her feel like this person had deep resentment for her. It was just evident in what Esther observed and learned and heard. Bad day at Black Rock. It was a very uncomfortable time for Esther as she took that in and put it on and wore it a little bit. And then she slept, and then she meditated, and then she calibrated. And she asked herself, because when someone resents you, or when you think they do, and you've calibrated to that, what's your next step? You resent them back. Can't help it. Law of attraction is powerful. So Esther now is not being resented, she's resenting. It's only fair, right? So then she asked herself a very clear question. Am I a lover, or am I one who resents? Well, that was easy for Esther. I'm a lover. In this situation, I'm resenting. But who am I really? Who am I really? Am I one who loves or one who resents? Well, that was so easy for Esther. So she got out a notebook and wrote on the left side of it, I resent. And then on the other side of the column, she wrote, I love. And then she just asked herself, which is me? Which is who I am? Which is who I mostly am? Not just considering who I am as Abraham, inner being, source energy, but who am I as Esther walking around? Do I mostly resent or do I mostly love? Love. So in the same way, we're asking you, are you mostly not good enough? Or are you damn well good enough? Isn't that easy for you to say?
Yeah.
You said it to us, I'm good at what I do.
Yeah.
All right, so now, just with that question that you've asked of yourself, when it got so absurd that you said, I'm not good enough, and you looked at it, and then you said, hey, let's get real here. Am I not good enough? Every fiber of your being knows that that is ridiculous and untrue. You are good at what you choose to be good at. Now, you calibrated there, didn't you? Mm-hmm. So now you didn't calibrate all the way to the Oscars. Didn't need to. You just calibrated for this moment. You just opened the circuit. And now everything that comes next has changed.
Wait, how do I calibrate to the Oscars then?
One uncomfortable emotion and calibration process at a time. And it can take as much time or as little time as you're willing to do calibration work. That's all.
So I basically always calibrate to the better feeling thought?
That's all it is. So now, you've identified it, you've isolated it, this feels yucky, this feels better, and now you've calibrated. Now, if you really want to calibrate, stay there longer. You feel a little better, you can take it further. You can say, I don't get the roles I want, and that feels frustrating to me. That feels unjust. That feels not fair. That feels wonky to me. That feels illogical to me. Does it? Does it feel illogical or logical that you're not getting some of these roles?
Illogical. I mean, for my inner being, it feels illogical.
Well, you're not your inner being. Your inner being would say illogical, but your inner being doesn't need to be calibrated. You do. And if you're faking it, if you're saying it's this when it's not, then the calibration work isn't really happening. So owning up to how you feel is important in calibration. You got to know where you are before you can feel the relief in movement. And so we'll just ask the question again. What was the question?
Is it logical or not logical?
So we're not asking you. Because what happens is sometimes if the question doesn't stick, then it's not something that he's owning. You're owning it. It's all right, but you see what we're getting at? So, am I good enough? I'm not good enough. I'm good enough. Now, which of those right now, there's no right or wrong, doesn't matter, but where's the calibration?
I'm good enough.
I'm good enough. I get every role I want. I don't get every role I want.
I get every role I want.
You're misunderstanding the calibration because you've been steeped in the idea of positive attitude and positive thought for so long that you all are thinking that the words are cutting it, and they're not. The words don't matter. It's how you feel that matters. And right now, we can tell you that your logic is telling you that if you were good enough, you'd already be getting all of that. So your conclusion is that you're not good enough. That's just where you are if we're getting it from your perspective.
So how do you get out of it?
I must not yet be good enough. Just stay with us. I am not ready. I'm ready. I'm not ready. I'll never be ready. I can get ready. I can get ready. It sucks having to calibrate. It feels good to calibrate. I can't do this. I can do this. I have to do this all at once. This is a gradual process. This is uncomfortable, especially in front of 1,000 people. This is an opportunity to really calibrate that will serve me. You see what we're getting at? Just take it nice and easy and don't say what you don't feel.
I think I found it. I have been doing it for such a long time that I feel like I'm doing something wrong.
All right. I'm doing something wrong. I'm just learning to calibrate. Better still.
But I should have learned to calibrate.
Oh, now you're really going to beat up on yourself. I should have learned it earlier. I can do it whenever. But this is the piece that we can feel sort of stuck in your vibrational cross.
But we as human beings, from such an amount of experience, I feel like, I don't know about them, but I look back and it's such an amount of experience that I'm like, man.
You're right. That's what most do who aren't mastering calibration.
But I try my best, though.
But here's the thing. We're not asking you to defend yourself, ever. Your desire to defend yourself is where we started today. You feel like you've got to defend yourself because you're used to other people being critical, so you're defending yourself. But your inner being is never critical, so your defense is really off kilter every time you do it. But here's the thing that we really want you to hear. Now, this will soothe, even solve This feeling that I've been doing this so long, why haven't I got my break sooner? That's the question on the table right here. We said this earlier, but we're going to say it again, specifically to you and to this conversation that we're having. Through that time that you were calibrating to not getting what you want, 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 you were defining what you want, what you want, what you want, what you want. The calibration to what you don't want was simultaneously calibrating to what you do want. That was really good work. That's why every actor at the top of his game, her game, at the top of the game, will say to you, oh yeah, everybody thinks I was an overnight success because all of a sudden I just came onto the scene and there I was. But they were not an overnight vibrational success because they calibrated a whole bunch of stuff of what they didn't want. Yeah?
Yeah.
So I've been wasting my time getting nowhere. I was calibrating what I don't want and simultaneously calibrating what I do want. And I've got a vortex full of success that is just on the brink for me. I'm beating up on myself because I should beat up on myself. I'm beating up on myself because humans beat up on themselves, but I am getting wiser every day. And I know that beating up on myself is of no value whatsoever. Now, you came into this environment of variety for this purpose of calibrating, and now for just a minute you were making it sound like that you weren't getting the job done when you were. So I'm way behind schedule. I'm right on track. I should have been doing better. I was doing the best that I knew to do in the time. I'm never going to make it. That's the most ridiculous statement I've ever heard myself making. This is really hard. This is not hard. It's not hard. Calibrating is easy, but you got to stay with it. It took a little while, and they came along too. It took a little while until you clicked into a place so that you can feel the actual movement in you. Yeah?
Yeah.
And right now, you're calibrated to everything that's in your vortex. You're going to see some immediate movement as a result of this improvement in calibration. But we are not asking any of you to look to us as calibration facilitator. We're just showing you how you do it. And we want you to enjoy the thrill of calibrating to your inner being. When you received that thought to go outside and you felt the freshness of the air and you felt frisky and wanted to take a run, you were in perfect calibrated sync with your source energy. And this is no different. You'll feel frisky in these thoughts. Don't you right now feel capable of anything? Don't you feel like you could say to any producer or any director or anyone involved in that, I am such a good learner and I will understand what you're getting at. I will synthesize to your idea of this. I'll tune in to the very best and depths of me, and I will deliver to you what you want because that's what I do. You will say to them, I'm not a typecast kind of person who only knows how to do this because it's who I really am. I want to do it all. I want you to elicit from me what you need for this role because I am a calibrator.